Welcome back to CBS Sports HQ. Well, with Buffalo's loss to Minnesota on Sunday, that knocked the Bills down to third in the AFC East and installed the Kansas City Chiefs as the new number one seed in the AFC. The Miami Dolphins, who now lead the AFC East, are the second seeds with Tennessee and Baltimore both at 6-3 to round out the division leaders. Rest of the AFC East rounds out the playoff picture here. Bills, Jets, and Patriots. Charles Davis here to continue our playoff conversation as we shift to the American Football Conference. Charles, we just talked in our last segment about concerns for the Eagles after they suffer their first loss. I'm assuming that alarm bells are going off when it comes to what is going on with the Bills right now.
Yeah, and I think that there are, and I've gotten enough calls from Western New York and enough people who have, hit me up on this, and it hasn't just been people who are Bills fans. It's just people in general and people watching the league, because we had them recently, Jeremy. We saw them against the Jets, and the Jets beat them in New Jersey. So that is part of it. Here's what I see with them. That team is so talented on offense that you remember when Aaron Rodgers gave us the RELAX years ago and Green Bay went on their run?
Yeah.
You can use RELAX for them. Just one word, patience. And I think that they've lost a little bit of that on offense, meaning when they look at themselves position by position, they believe they should score every time they have the football. And it's understandable and rightly so. Offensive line's good, skill position's terrific. Josh Allen on top of his game is as good as anyone. But they have to remember that any series that ends with a kick is a good series, a PAT, a field goal, and even a punt. And I think they take such pride in the fact that Sam Martin hasn't punted very often, that sometimes they press it too much, and that leads to the turnovers. So you don't end with a kick. And I think that's where they are right now. A little more patience. After a while, I think you get bored on offense when teams play top-down defense, Jeremy, keep everything in front, make you run extra plays when you don't get all the explosive you're used to getting. And I think Josh Allen has pressed it a little bit. I think the offense has pressed it a little bit. Have a little patience. A few punts along the way will not kill you, and maybe you'll get that explosiveness to come back, because after a while, if you're patient, the defense gets a little antsy too and creates openings for you. And I think that's where they are. Just a little bit more patience, and Buffalo will be okay.
Well, and you see they're still the favorites to win the AFC East at minus 180, with the Dolphins, who are the current leaders at 7-3, sitting at plus 230. Bills have Cleveland, by the way, coming to Orchard Park this week, what some are calling a must-win game for them. So how unique would it be to have all four teams from the East make it into the playoffs? We just talked about the situation in the NFC and the possibility there, but I mean, Charles, there's a real possibility here that all four teams from the AFC East could be playoff bound.
It's so intriguing, isn't it? I still sit where I sat on the NFC East, Jeremy. We haven't had four before. I don't think we'll get four now, but I just love the fact that the possibilities are there. And here's how I look at the AFC East. I do think Buffalo will get their mojo back and rise back to the top. They're the best team in that division, especially because of the defense. Even though they gave up points last week, that's the defense that travels come playoff time, all right? Miami is so explosive, and in today's NFL football, that's what seems to be winning, that explosiveness, big plays, people getting it done. And remember that loss Miami had to the Jets, Tua out, Teddy Bridgewater hurt in the first series of the game. Skylar Thompson had to play quarterback for them, and the Jets pulled away later. I think Miami's the most explosive team after Buffalo in the division. Then the Jets in New England aren't explosive at all. Can they win the wrestling match necessary to be the next team in? Who can impose their will and get it done? New England got the Jets already once this year. The rematch is coming up. Can they do it a second time with the same type of formula? Because neither team is built, Jeremy, for the huge plays on offense. Can they get some? Yes. But it's not like Buffalo. It's not like Miami, where they can be explosive on any snap.
Well, the Jets minus 120 to make the playoffs. Patriots are at plus 130. But we saw in that chasing pack, the Cincinnati Bengals are also there. Last year's Super Bowl finalists. They're coming out of their bye week at 5-4. So they are in that mix. But, Charles, they have some work to do down the stretch, and we still don't know when or if Jamar is coming back. What's your assessment of the Bengals at this point?
Yeah, get comfortable with him being out, but they are a team to me that's so equipped with him being out that they should be able to weather the storm. Yes, Jamar Chase is an entirely different type of explosiveness than other receivers in the league. We get it. We've seen it. He's demonstrated it. But you're going to tell me T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd can't form an incredible 1-2 punch? Before T. Higgins and Jamar Chase joined the team, Tyler Boyd was their leading receiver for 3 straight years. The only drop he had last year occurred in the Super Bowl. And Joe Mixon's on that team, and they finally got him untracked in their last ball game before the open week. So to me, this is an offense that can still get things done. I'm still flummoxed by the offensive line, Jeremy. They spent a lot of money, a lot of capital on what we thought were really good players coming there. And Joe Burrow still gets hurt, still gets hit a lot. And it's not always because he's holding the football. That's the one part they have not totally solved yet, but they have the playmakers necessary to keep them not just afloat, but thriving until they get Jamar Chase back. He should not be the excuse for them struggling on offense.
And you saw on the schedule there, Bengals are at Pittsburgh, at Tennessee, then host Kansas City. A very emotional Derek Carr spoke to the media Sunday after the Raiders lost to Jeff Saturday and the Colts, falling to 2-7. Mark Davis said, look, Josh McDaniels is going to stay on despite a disastrous season. With their playoff hopes gone, where do the Raiders go from here, Charles?
I think they go to continuing to try and build what they thought they had put in come preseason and training camp. Josh McDaniels forming that bond with Derek Carr, continuing to try and do what they're trying to do on offense. In the offseason, Dave Ziegler, Josh McDaniels, the rest of that front office. Draft is going to be huge for them. Free agency is going to be huge for them. Remember, a playoff team the year before, they come back this year thinking they have even higher hopes, even though they changed the coaching staff that Rich Bisaccia, with Rich Bisaccia being the interim coach, they got them there. And now it's just disappointment. Jeremy, wasn't it just yesterday we were all screaming about how great the AFC West was going to be? And that has turned out not to be the case. And maybe the Las Vegas Raiders the biggest disappointment in it. But if he's going to be their coach going forward, you're staying the course. You're trying to get better. You're not giving up on the season. But for Derek Carr, last year he thought he was out of the abyss and playoff runs were going to happen year in and year out. That's why I think we saw him so emotional at the podium on Sunday. He had gone through all those dark days before. Last year, they got through it. He thought they were continuing to ascend. They did not. And boy, that's got to be really tough for him because he's been there all the time. Because you remember the first playoff run, he didn't even get to play. He broke his ankle at the end of the season. Last year was his first playoffs where he played. He thought more were coming.
Yeah, and lots of questions left to answer for the Raiders. CBS Sports NFL analyst, color commentator, and one of the best guys around, Charles Davis, joining us here on HQ to discuss the NFL playoff pictures. Great to see you, Charles.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.